Welcome, and thank you for joining us for another webinar where an owner is willing to take time out of their lives and share their experiences with you. Today, I am so thrilled to introduce Mary Runquist of Reliable Cleaning Services, who lives in my third favorite city in the world, Fort Collins. First is Austin, second is Australia, and third is now Fort Collins. What a great, fun, loving city. So I was thrilled to spend 9 days with Mary in Fort Collins as we worked on her business, and I think did a whirlwind turnaround, and we really had a good time doing it. We had some tears, we had some joy, we worked very, very hard, and Mary's business is definitely taking off. So let me welcome Mary. Thank her for coming in or staying so late tonight to do this webinar. And welcome, Mary, and tell us a little bit about your business.
Thank you, Marilyn. I bought this business last fall, November 19, 2014, from a person who had run it for 10 years. She thought she had about 100 customers. It was probably the worst time ever to buy a cleaning business because I had to reschedule everybody for Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's. I was feeling better about the business about in March, February or March, thinking the scheduling was pretty easy, but I lost some staff, and so that made it difficult. Anyway, right now I think I have about 80, I do know I have 87 repeat clients. Those are weekly, bi-weekly, and monthly. We clean about 11 or 12 houses a day. I have 6 full-time cleaners. I have, which are on 2 teams of 3. I have 1 team of 2, and those cleaners are part-time cleaners. We have 4 company cars. The cleaners use the cars to go from house to house. I pay them by the hour, so they're paid while they're driving. I have an office assistant who helps me about 5 or 6 hours a week. Right now, she's helping me mainly with scheduling, making sure that the teams have keys. She's doing some checks and getting the deposits ready. But she's also available to be a cleaner, so if we're short-staffed, she can go out and clean. If somebody needs a vacuum because theirs broke, she runs out and does that. She does a lot of errands for me. I am working about 50 hours a week, and it comes and goes. Some weeks are less. Right now I'm working a lot more because Karen was just here and gave me a lot more things to do. So that's the background of this business.
Thanks, Mary. It's a great business. She's so relaxed. Look at her. So, Mary, when you bought the business, you paid a chunk of money for this business, and you had it for about 11 months, and like you said, things seemed to get better in March, and then some challenges started creeping in that would make you spend some more money to have somebody come and help you. What were the challenges that crept in that made you go, I got to change something, and right now?
March was an awful month. I had 4 cleaners clean at once. Stopped. They quit. They didn't even show up for work on the same day. I was so short-staffed. But I managed to figure out how to hire and interview people, and we got our staff back. But things were still crazy, especially with the scheduling. I do all paper and pencil scheduling, and I started not sending cleaners to houses that we were already scheduled for. I had 2 houses that we do every other week. Didn't even send cleaners to them. And we had 2 that we do every month, and I didn't send to them. It was a constant battle trying to have enough staff with the right amount of customers, especially doing it by paper and pencil. I have little pieces of paper and pencil all over the place. I generally would have about 2.5 months worth of the schedule done in a book, but every day I would then make another schedule for the cleaners on a little piece of paper and put that on the bulletin board. It was a paper nightmare. I had paper all over, and obviously we were forgetting things. But I knew the business was good. We got phone calls. We get phone calls all the time for business, but I never knew if I had openings. So it came to a point where I wasn't even answering the phone, and I told that to Sharon later. She about died, but I didn't want to answer it because I knew people would want their house cleaned, and I didn't know if I had room for them, and I didn't know if I had staff for them. So oftentimes I didn't answer it. I tried to figure out a message I could put on the answering machine that would say, okay, that shows you how old I am. On the voice message that would say, we'll get back to you in 72 hours if we can. I told that to someone who said, it can't be 72 hours. But I ended up not even doing that. But it was that I wouldn't answer the phone. Those are my main challenges is the scheduling and the personnel. I also didn't have anybody who was ultimately responsible for things that went wrong. If I had customer complaints, and we would get customer complaints because people were sharing the supervisor job. I had co-leaders, so two people would be in charge, and both of them would say, well, it's not my fault, it's her fault. You know? And it would go back and forth like that. And I also did not have strict guidelines for the handbook. I used a handbook that was a generic one I got offline, and it wasn't really geared towards the cleaning industry. So I needed a lot of help. Those are my biggest challenges.
Let's pick up the two that were on that we missed. You talked about cleaners not being dependable because they were part-time and you weren't sure if they were going to show up or not.
Exactly. I had all my employees were part-time because that's how the owner had the business going before I bought it, and I just thought, well, that's the way you do it. So I had some employees who were going to school and they could only work a couple days a week, and then others who had to get home to daycare, so they could only work a certain hour on one day of the week and a different hour on another day of the week. And oftentimes it felt like they didn't feel responsibility for having to come to work because they would think, oh, somebody else will do this job, I don't have to come. So they'd call in early in the morning, or some of them, there were some no-shows, but usually those people I got rid of before they did that again. So then I started having to clean houses, and I didn't know how to clean houses, but I kind of learned that employees hated it when I was out there because I was real slow, and they'd have to come and train me how to clean houses. But it was like a catch-22 because I would be out working, then I couldn't get more houses, and I couldn't get anything done that I wanted done.
Okay. So Mary called me in quite a whirlwind going, I need you yesterday and more than a week. So Mary took me for 9 days, which was a good call on her part. It really was. We were busy up until the end. And we fixed a lot of these issues. Mary, talk first of all about what's happened to your schedule. You had no control over your schedule, so one of the first things we did the first day I was there was we picked a software program that I knew the owner of, so I could call in the middle of the night and say, hey, Mary and I are too old to get this, help us out. So talk to us a little bit about that experience, and if you feel more comfortable or more, not necessarily comfortable, but more on top of your scheduling now, more like you're going to not make a error.
I finally feel like I'm moving into the right age of technology. We picked a program. I had looked at other programs, and I was overwhelmed at what to do for a software program because there are so many of them. Sharon came in and said, okay, we're going to do this one, and I'm going to start inputting a little bit to see how it works, and then we'll get your office manager to help you or whoever we can to help. And I love that she just made a decision and we're going to do it and we're going forward. So now I have it. It's a little difficult for us because we're still used to the paper and pencil, but it's only been a few days that we've even really tried working with it. The person who is helping us is very gracious to his time and generous in being able to help us do it. But I love it. I love that it's giving us hope that we can use it. So right now we are using that along with the paper and pencil method and hoping to get away from the paper and pencil. But you know, everything is hard to change, and the cleaners don't like change either. They know it's coming, and I'm warning them, and they are getting really, really, really excited about having it.
It was funny. Mary and I don't know what we're doing, so clients and cleaners were getting work orders at 3:30 in the morning, and Kimberly runs through. But the exciting part is they're getting work orders. I mean, it's there. It's a possible, and the fact that they will not have to come in the office every day because Mary's going to get them iPads made them excited to this experience. I was so thrilled to be a part of this because it was like, wow, check this out. We have a schedule. So we did that, and Mary is actually up and running on it. You can actually see the colors and what's going on. So the next thing that I'd like to talk about, Mary, was your problem with no openings. So there was no growth, and how did we fix that as far as part-time and full-time people?
Well, she comes in and says, why don't, you know, you can't run a full-time business with part-time help. Or, like, oh, that never dawned on me. We need to have full-time workers. So, oh, yeah, good idea. Who here wants to work full-time? There were 6 people in my company that wanted full-time hours. I didn't even know that. So we decided to post those jobs, and then also to
well, let's talk about the supervisors. We
yeah.
I can get over to that. Hold on one second. Okay. We decided
so now I have 6 people that want to be full-time employees. Well, who's going to supervise these? Sharon has a supervisor position description that we posted, and then we made a posting for people to apply, and I had 4 people apply to want to be a supervisor. I couldn't believe it. They were wonderful, and so we interviewed each of them one-on-one and learned a whole bunch about my employees. Sharon helped me learn more about them in just that 1 hour than I've learned in a few months about them through that interview. After we got them, we actually got one hired right away. And the other thing I want to put in here, which I never would have thought of, but Sharon thought, why don't we have one of them take a car home at night? So that gave the supervisor a little benefit of having a car, a customer car, or a business car that they could only use for business. And I tell you, that supervisor and that team is loving it. They can get their work orders now at home, and they don't have to come up to the office. They take the car and they go pick up each other. I'm loving it. And now I live in Colorado, so I even love it thinking about December and January when I don't have to scrape that car off. The supervisors
That's what's so Mary. That is what's so Mary.
Like when she said that, I thought, yeah, let them take it home, and they can drive it home, and their neighbors are going to see the reliable cleaning ad on the car, and it's not sitting up here in the parking lot in a business. But that was a really good idea. So we got the supervisors, and we got the 2 teams of full-time employees. I am so loving it. It's easy to schedule.
Mary, let's go back to accountability now. Mary, 1 second. We talked about one of your challenges, which is true of all people here on the line, is cleaners not being dependable. Talk a little bit about the dependability and the part-time cleaner and the full-time cleaner and who is dependable and who isn't.
Oh, definitely the full-time cleaner is dependable. And now that the teams are the full-time workers are a lot more dependable than the part-time workers, partly because they show up all the time, they're not as absent. Sometimes they would use an excuse like, well, I didn't know I was on the schedule that day, or they'll say, don't you remember I told you I have a test on Wednesday, so I couldn't come on Wednesday. Now I know who's on the team Monday through Friday. It is so easy to schedule. I can't believe how easy it is. I'm loving it. I'm loving having full-time workers. They love it. They know their schedule. They know how much money they're going to make. The customers are loving it. It was a little transition for many of them because they didn't necessarily have the same cleaners that they had before, but they're getting used to it, and it's going to go right into this holiday season that's so hard and so busy, and we're much more prepared. I like it. Thank you.
Very good. So the next challenge you had was house cleaning. Mary had no idea how to clean a house. I thought I didn't know how to clean a house, but Mary was even worse than me. If it weren't for Cora, neither one of us would be cleaning houses. So two things I'd like you to talk about. What it did to you emotionally and mentally and confidence-wise to learn how to clean a house, and then talk a little bit about training your people.
The program that Sharon has is absolutely wonderful because it's a standardized program, and everybody does the same thing with the same tools and the same products. Before Sharon came along, I had my employees teaching each other how to clean, and I never knew exactly what they were teaching each other. And of course, different cleaners have different systems. I was kind of held hostage to these employees because I didn't know how to clean. And if they all decided to quit, I would not have known how to go hire some new employees to be able to train them to how to clean. So I love the course system. Sharon made me watch the tapes, and I had to watch them twice because I didn't catch on the first time, and I'd get into the room and I had no idea where to start, and Sharon would say, go back and watch that video again. Today, I get to tell Sharon for the first time, I actually trained somebody how to clean a bathroom. I'm so proud of myself. So I feel a freedom that I have the ability to be able to move on. If my cleaners decide to quit or move on, we have one employee who used the Spanish version, and she liked it very, very much. Everybody's loving the apron. One of my employees said, oh, I can't wait to take this home to show my husband and her daughter her new tools with the tile brush in it and the ostrich feather duster. And I was like, oh, okay, and her name tag. We never had name tags before. I never thought of these things. And it's so simple, but yet it's so important. And we're loving it. I got to tell you, I got a compliment, Sharon, from when I was training. I did a kitchen sink, and the guy said it was the cleanest his sink has ever looked since he bought his house. And that was using the core.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. And you have gotten, I asked her before we got on air today, or started recording, how the compliments and the complaints are coming, and there you've received a couple of very nice compliments.
Very nice. From people who are usually complainers. I had one call the other day said, I love that you do high dusting and low dusting every single time. And then the big compliment was how fantastic the bathrooms looked, that they were so shiny. But she said, you know, he only did 2 bathrooms this time, but I understand he's new, and so he didn't know how to manage his time, and that's okay that he didn't do the 3rd bathroom. I couldn't believe it because she usually complains about everything, but because the cleaning was so spectacular this time, she let it go that he had only cleaned 2 out of the 3. When he came back, he said, well, I couldn't go into the 3rd anyway because she was using it, but I was amazed that she was so happy because she is not an easy customer to please.
That was exciting there. Yeah, you were getting compliments from people who had screamed, and now they were like one lady who screamed is now a monthly client. I said to Mary, we're going to get that client. So it's fun to see that happen. Very much.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, Mary.
I think they're getting faster too.
Yeah, I remember the team that picked up the day when somebody was a no-show when I was there, and at the end of the day they came in and said, there's no way we could have gotten these jobs done had we not learned the core system. So
that's right.
They are faster and they are better. So the last area I'd like to talk about for a moment is the changes you made in your employee handbook. You had an employee handbook before I got there, but you kind of like mixed the two or adjusted to mine. Tell me why and what you learned about the employee handbook a couple of days ago when you were going to terminate them. Have one?
What?
That was important to have one signed that she received it.
Yeah, the absenteeism policy and the cell phone policy I had to use with an employee right away. It's so nice to have. I had thought about how many days an employee could be absent that was reasonable, and I never came up with a good answer, but this employee handbook has a nice answer, and I like that it doesn't matter what the reason is for the absences. It has a tracking form, too, that I can use for absences. That's another thing I wasn't doing well, but it's black and white whether or not an employee is following what our rules and regulations are. I'm going to have an employee meeting here next week and start going through the handbook with everybody where we'll just share readings, and then I know that everybody has heard the policies about I'd never thought of this either. No cell phones in the house unless you're the supervisor. And if you do take an emergency call, to go outside and talk and to be clocked out. That it's not on reliable cleaning time. We're not paying people to talk on the phone. Just like you wouldn't pay somebody at McDonald's. They can't be working at McDonald's and be on the cell phone. So it's nice to have things in writing. That also has a vacation aspect to it, which my employees love. I have some employees here who have been here 6 years, and they've never had a vacation. And they certainly deserve it, and I want to give it to them. So they know that they're being recognized for hard work. I'm real glad to offer that.
Very good, Mary. Very good. Well, Mary had quite a whirlwind week. She's changed a lot. There's no doubt about it. I came back to her office on Thursday. I had gone out and trained all day so she could stay in the office and work. I trained 3 of her most difficult employees. And it was so exciting to walk in the door that night. I didn't have a horrible day, however. And she said, I had a great day. And I don't think Mary has said that in a very long time, but she was so excited and she had implemented stuff, and there were little signs all over the office, so she made me feel very good. Hopefully Mary's life has changed. So Mary, do you have any final words you'd like to say to people about the changes in your office and about the program?
I love the changes. They're so simple. I'm so glad Sharon came. The business had really grown to a spot, obviously, where I couldn't make it any bigger without making some changes. But there's people out there who wanted the business, so I knew we could grow it. And with Sharon coming in and just pointing out little things that seem little, but if they're big, like let's make these full-time employees. Oh, yeah, good idea. Didn't think of that. How about some scheduling software? Oh, yeah, let's do that. Very, very helpful. I'm so glad I had her for 9 days because it actually took me probably a couple of days to kind of explain the problems in depth to her and for her to understand the core of our staff and our customers. We are very people-oriented and family-oriented, and we want to make customers happy, and we want to know that we do good work. And Sharon just came in and worked with us in our mission, and we loved having her here. It was difficult because she's coming in as an outsider and seeing things, and cleaners are used to things not being changed. But after a while, people adapted and loved it, absolutely loved it. I really liked that Sharon had an agenda when she came. It was typewritten, a couple pages long, and we pretty much stuck to it. But on the other hand, she was flexible and adapted. You helped me so much doing the main things that were my problems, the employees who weren't dependable, the schedule that was crazy, the employee handbook that I didn't really have. And what was the fourth thing? Those were my main ones. I couldn't have done this on the phone or by reading the book. And I know I'm getting to a level now where this business can really, really grow, and I can reach my goal, which is to sell the business in between 5 and 7 years. It's going to be saleable, and that's what I want to do. Thank you, Sharon. You're the best. We had a lot of fun. We did.
We had a lot of fun. Not as much fun as I wish we could have had, but I'll be back. It was a great city, Mary. Thank you. I did take a 15-mile bike ride with Mary and her friend on Saturday morning, so we did some fun things. We worked hard. We worked from 6 in the morning until midnight one night. I mean, she was really not happy that night, but we had to keep on trucking. Mary likes to sleep. So, but it was a successful program. Thank you very much, Mary, and I wish you only the very, very, very best in the world. So if you have any questions for Mary, she's an open and just the greatest person you'll ever meet. She is so sweet and kind. She will do very well. This is her email address. This is her phone number. She's very open to talk to you. So what Mary did was cross-country training. And if you go to my website, successmadeeasy.com, and you click on the banner on the home page on cross-country training, it will tell you exactly what Mary got. She did, it's actually 5 days on there. Mary paid more for 9 days, but it shows you what the program is. I also have a Hill Country Harvest coming up, which is where you come to the ranch for 2.5 days and you learn what Mary learned, and then you go home and implement it. And that is November 13th to November 15th. Again, if you click on the banner on the home page on Hill Country Harvest, it'll explain everything that happens there. Both of these programs include everything on my website, including the English and Spanish core training, which is probably worth what you're going to pay for Hill Country Harvest, because I would imagine, Mary, if somebody tried to take those core training tips away from you, you would not be a happy person. Is that true?
Yeah, that's true. Those are mine.
They do help a lot. So, Mary,
yeah.
Thank you so very, 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 very much for taking the time out of your day. I hope our attendees learned some things today. If you have any questions, give Mary or myself a call, and we will see you next time when we have another owner willing to share their experiences.
Bye.